You're listening to a New York Jets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the team's latest goings-on as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, Jets fans! Welcome to my 2021 New York Jets NFL Draft Preview here on the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk. And this show is going to be me telling you what the Jets should do with their 10 picks in the 2021 NFL Draft that they currently have. Obviously, they could trade up, they could trade down. Someone who I mocked to the Jets in the 5th round, maybe taken in the 4th round. There are a lot of variables, but I promise that I'll keep it realistic. Without further ado, the Jets have the 2nd overall pick. We all know who they're taking. The only thing left to do is write his name on the draft card. It's Zack Wilson. Had a fantastic year at BYU. Dominated in the Boca Raton Bowl against UCF in a hostile environment. That was when I really took notice of Wilson. Before the Boca Raton Bowl, to me it was Lawrence and Fields. No one else. Then people started talking up Zack Wilson, so it's like, okay, let me file his name away and I'll look into him later. Okay, he's playing in the Boca Raton Bowl, let me watch it. With the entire college football world watching. He had the game of his life. He was responsible for 5 touchdowns. The Cougars destroyed the Knights. Then as you dug deeper into the film, you realized that this kid is an incredible athlete. Excellent mobility. Very quick release. Incredibly strong arm. That throw that he made in his Pro Bowl, 99% of NFL quarterbacks today can't make that throw. Patrick Mahomes can make that throw. Russell Wilson can make that throw. No one else. He's very accurate. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He's already reached out to former Jets quarterbacks to get the lay of the land. What's it like being quarterback of the Jets? Look, it's a big transition from Provo, Utah to the biggest media market in the world. And I understand that he's kind of lean, 6'2", 215 pounds, not the greatest frame in the world. And he's a one-year wonder. In a perfect world, you'd like him to have more success under his belt. But you know what? Joe Burrow was a one-year wonder. Kyler Murray was a one-year wonder. Baker Mayfield was a one-year wonder. Those guys are working out just fine. Zack Wilson is going to save the New York Jets. I will say this, I would not be upset if the pick was Justin Fields. I like Fields a lot. I think he's going to have a very good career, just like Wilson. I think the gap between the two is razor thin. If the Jets take Wilson, I'm over the moon. If the Jets take Fields, I'm ecstatic. The Jets are in a great spot with the second overall pick. Like I said, it's better to go 2-14 and have the second overall pick than to go 0-16 and have the first overall pick. The fun really starts for the Jets with the 23rd overall pick. There are rumors that the Jets could trade up for a guy like Rashawn Slater or Elijah Vera Tucker. But I don't like mocking trades. Is it possible that that could happen? Sure. Lord knows the Jets have the ammo for it. But again, for the purposes of this exercise, I'm not gonna mock a trade-up. In the mock draft that I did last week with Nick Ornberger, I had the Jets taking Greg Newsome II with the 23rd overall pick. Obviously, they got this pick from the Seahawks in the Jamal Adams trade. And I'm going to stick with Newsome. Excluding quarterback, the biggest need that the Jets have, and this is not debatable, this is fact, is cornerback. I've said this 1,000 times. I mean, all you have to do is look at the depth chart that the Jets currently have for cornerbacks. Bless Austin, Bryce Hall, Javelin Guidry, Justin Hardy, Corey Ballantyne, Kyron Brown, Bennett Jackson, Lamar Jackson, and Zane Lewis. It doesn't get any worse than that. I can't tell you how many deep passes the Jets gave up last year because of their terrible corners. Guys like Darryl Roberts and Pierre Desir. Newsome has the ideal frame to be a corner in this league. 6 foot, 190 pounds, shade over 190 to be specific. Very smart corner, really good cover skills. The biggest knock on him is that he really didn't put the greatest tape out there when he was with the Wildcats. In his 3 seasons at Northwestern, he only played 17 games. That is a concern. There's no question. But if Newsome can stay healthy, and it's a big if, the Jets will have a starting corner for a really, really long time. This pick does come with some risk, but you know what? Every draft pick comes with risk. So okay, Jacob, now you have to support the quarterback, right? I mean, is that what you're going to do? No, I'm not. The Jets went heavier on offense than they did defense in free agency. They brought in Corey Davis, they brought in Tevin Coleman, they brought in Keelan Cole, they brought in Tyler Kroft. What did the Jets do on defense? Carl Lawson was fantastic. There's no question about that. Sheldon Rankins, they didn't really need. He'll be a good player for the Jets, but you don't need him. Vinny Curry's a solid rotational player at this stage in his career. Jarrad Davis is a backup. That's all he is. The Jets need more help on defense than they do offense. You look at the Jets' offense right now, it's not awful with Wilson at the helm. It's not great. It does need help, and I'll get there, but I'm not getting there with the 34th overall pick. In the mock draft, Nick and I had Zaven Collins being available with the 34th overall pick. Collins, to some people, is the best edge rusher in this draft. In a perfect world, the Jets would add another edge rusher. Give that pass rush a real jolt, a real shot in the arm. Turn it into a fearsome unit, something that it hasn't been in over a decade. Collins is a jack of all trades, master of some. His tape at Tulsa was incredible. He's the best one-on-one tackler in this draft. He's not the smartest player in the world, and maybe he won't play on third downs right away, but think about this front seven for a minute. John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, Carl Lawson, Zaven Collins, C.J. Mosley, and Jabari Zuniga, who I'm not ready to give up on. I understand that he didn't have a good rookie season, but the key words there are rookie season. Let's give him a chance under Robert Saleh to turn his career around. That front seven has the potential to be something scary. So yeah, you know that I'm following the mock draft at this point. And with the 66th overall pick, I had the Jets taking one of the best nickel corners in this draft, Aaron Robinson. Very smart player, prototypical frame for a nickel corner, 5'11" to 6 foot, 186 pounds, really good cover skills. Again, not the most durable player in the world. He is very lean, so you gotta wonder how he's gonna fare getting matched up against the grown men that the NFL has, but he's a nickel corner. That's gonna be limited to a certain extent. Yeah, I truly believe that it's in the Jets' best interest to spend 3 of their first 4 picks on defensive players. See, here's the thing, and I've said this before. If you put all your eggs in the offensive basket, you are expecting this team with a rookie quarterback to win 38-35 games. That's unfair for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, let alone Zack Wilson. There is a healthy mix there. The Jets' offense, on paper, right now, is better than their defense is on paper right now. They have a good wide receiver core. They've got a tight end in Chris Herndon with talent. They have an offensive line that isn't as much of Swiss cheese as some people would have you believe. It needs improvement. And I'm going to get to that now. But the defense is more of a pressing need. Think about this cornerback core for a minute. Greg Newsome II, Richard Sherman, Aaron Robinson, Javelin Guidry, Bryce Hall, and Justin Hardy. That sounds pretty good to me. Like I said, I'm going to go to offense now. The Jets have the 86th overall pick. They got that pick from the Seahawks. That is the 22nd pick in the 3rd round. And that fits the range of this guy. A guy who I have a late 3rd round grade on. Josh Myers. A center from OSU. He started for 2 full years with the Buckeyes, was going up against top-tier talent, and held his own. Jack of all trades, master of none. He's a tough player. He's a mauler. I want him backing me up in a bar fight. And what that does is, it enables Connor McGovern to move to right guard, where he'll be better than he was last year. McGovern was probably the worst offensive lineman the Jets had. But they're stuck with him because, of course, that's the one guy that Joe Douglas gave a firm multi-year commitment to. You've got to make it work for at least next year. Let's move him to right guard. The Jets can cut Greg Van Roten. That improves the offensive line a lot. That brings us to the 107th overall pick. The 2nd pick in the 4th round. And I'm going to go offensive line again. George Fant did not have a great season. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't great. There's room for improvement there. Let me tell you. I think it's possible that the Jets could sign Mitchell Schwartz. You'd be hard-pressed to think of a better mentor for a young offensive tackle than Mitchell Schwartz. The lucky offensive tackle to get mentored by Schwartz is Dan Moore Jr. out of Texas A&M. This guy epitomizes the phrase jack of all trades, master of none. He has a very high floor, but a very low ceiling, similar to Myers. The thing that I like about Moore is that he fits perfectly into the Jets' new offense. They're going to run a zone blocking system. Dan Moore Jr. is one of the best zone blockers in this draft. He's very smart. He's good with his hands. Maybe you don't want him starting week 1, but if the Jets sign Schwartz, they don't need more to start week 1. That brings us to the 146th overall pick, the 2nd pick in the 5th round. And now it's time to go running back. The Jets have Tevin Coleman, who I like, and they have LaMichael Pirine, who I think can be a solid NFLer. Then, after those two guys, it gets a little dicey. Ty Johnson and Josh Adams had some good games at the end of the season. But let's be honest, even if everything goes right with them, you're just looking at a decent player, not great. I want to shoot higher than that. And you want to talk about great. That's the kind of games that this guy had at Oklahoma State. Chuba Hubbard. I think he is one of the sleepers in this draft. All he needs is a little bit of a hole, and he can get into that second level. Out of the blocks, he's not the fastest running back in the world, but in open field, you're not going to be able to catch him. He's very patient. He knows what he's good at, and he executes it. I think he can turn into a decent pass catcher out of the backfield. The fan base would get very excited about seeing Chuba Hubbard in green after the great career that he had at Oklahoma State, where, not last year, but the year before, he got some Heisman Trophy votes. He was also Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year and was a consensus All-American. He can also contribute on kick returns. That's a nice added bonus. 8 picks later, the Jets are on the clock. They got the 154th overall pick from the Giants in the Leonard Williams trade. And let's go with a safety. I'm not sold on the Jets' backup safeties right now, with the exception of LaMarcus Joyner. Saquon Hampton, Elijah Campbell, and J.T. Hassel aren't going to be mistaken for Bill Baird, Paul Krause, and Ronnie Lott anytime soon. So let's get an upgraded safety, specifically Tyree Gillespie out of Missouri. This guy is a thumper. He reminds me a lot of Jamal Adams. With him on the field, you always need to be watching out for safety blitzes. He's a shade under 6 foot, but you wouldn't know it. When he hits you, you feel it. The knock on him is that he is terrible in coverage. And he is. There's no question. But what did I say about LaMarcus Joyner? Joyner is a really good cover safety. You complement him with a really good in-the-box safety? A guy in the mold of John Lynch? You've got something there. That makes sense. That's balance. That's how you properly construct a roster. The Jets can get Jamal Adams light in the middle of the 5th round. Yeah, they were right to trade Jamal Adams. I'll go back to the offensive line with the 2nd pick in the 6th round, 186 overall. I took a center. I took a tackle. Let me take a guard, specifically Jack Anderson out of Texas Tech. A guy who, when you watch him play, you think to yourself, man, this guy's going to be a high draft pick. Then when you dig a little deeper into it, you realize why he's viewed as a 6th round talent. Not the greatest frame in the world, 6'4.5", 314 pounds. Not great in pass protection, better in run blocking, and even then, he's not the greatest there. He is smart, he's a tough guy. I know he had a good Senior Bowl week. The talent is there for Jack Anderson. He has moments where he looks really, really good. It's very possible that John Benton, the Jets' offensive line coach, can help him realize his full potential. The last pick that the Jets have is the 226th overall pick. The 41st pick in the 6th round, that is the compensatory portion of the round. They got that pick from the Carolina Panthers in the Sam Darnold trade. So the only pick that the Jets got for this year in exchange for Sam Darnold doesn't even come in the top 225. You think Joe Douglas is punting this season away? The Jets could stand to add a kicker. They have 2 kickers on the roster in Sam Ficken and Chase McLaughlin. I like Ficken. I don't think he's terrible, but there is room for improvement there. This guy did have some good moments kicking the football in college. Usually it's an adventure, but no, with this guy, you had confidence in him. Jose Borregales, out of the U. He converted all of his extra points last year, missed just 2 field goals. The longest field goal that he hit was 57 yards last year. There are a lot of NFL kickers that can't hit a 57-yard field goal. And kicking in college is similar to kicking in the NFL. Kicking is kicking, and punting is punting. The one thing that you have to look out for is the yips. I don't think Borregales is going to have the yips. Borregales led the ACC in field goal percentage this year. He put together some really good seasons at FIU before that. As crazy as this is going to sound, I wouldn't be opposed to the Jets trading up for Borregales. The Jets, at this moment, are set to have 11 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft. They have 3 6th-rounders. They have their own 6th, the Niners' 6th, that they got for Jordan Willis, and the Buccaneers' 6th that they got for Steve McClendon. If push comes to shove, use one of those picks to trade up for Borregales. I promise you won't regret it. Obviously, you're going to get a regular episode of the Jacob Valk Show in the afternoon. Tomorrow, the regular episode of the Jacob Valk Show will probably be a first-round recap. I'll probably end up breaking down all 32 picks. I don't want to say that definitively yet, but I think it's leaning that way. Monday morning, you're going to get a New York Jets draft recap where I break down what the Jets actually did in the NFL draft. Until next time, I am Jacob Valk saying that I always thought to win a Pulitzer, you have to bring down a government, not just quote Tommy Lasorda.